Welcome to This Week from Blue Mountain Broadcasting. I'm so glad that you've tuned in for the program today. I'm Lynelle Ellis, your host and the president of Blue Mountain Broadcasting Association. It's just great to have you here with us for the program. And I'm going to be interviewing Holly Carpenter later on in the show. And Holly is a musician, a strings teacher at Rogers Adventist School, and she's going to be sharing with us about the importance and the opportunities of music and opportunities for music for kids here in our community. And then we're going to have some very important things to share with you during the station news segment of the program. And let's begin now with our devotional thought. I have a text printed out and taped to my desk. And this text is 2 Corinthians 4:17. This is what it says from the New Living Translation. For our present troubles are small and won't last very long, yet they produce for us a glory that vastly outweighs them and will last forever. As you can imagine, this passage has been a great encouragement to me over the last 2 years as we experienced the pandemic and all that has gone along with it. Recently, I read a devotional by Lisa Copen. She's the founder of Rest Ministries. And she used that same text to begin her thoughts about living with challenges and with chronic pain. And I want to share her thoughts with you today. But here's that verse again as Lisa Copen uses it from the New International Version. For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all. So often we focus on today and forget that today is but a speck in God's eternal plan. Who of us has believed that our troubles are light? In the day-to-dayness of things, my troubles feel very heavy. And then I turn on the television and see the tear-stained cheeks of a father in another country searching through the rubble for his family. And I am ashamed of my own complaints of a sore body. Each of us has the opportunity to put our troubles aside and move ahead. This can seem more than overwhelming, and we are plagued with self-doubts. Who am I to encourage someone else when I get depressed? How can I tell someone to just keep on praying when my prayers haven't been answered lately? How can I work on God's will when I'm just trying to survive? The list of excuses we have is long and often sound solid. They are legitimate more times than not, but God assures us that despite what we may believe, our troubles are light. We must trust that He knows and would not assure us otherwise if it were not so. Gloria Gaither shares, I have discovered that my brain was not dead, only sleeping to avoid the chaos around me. And my soul, when watered, straightened right up like a refreshed plant. I may even bloom again. Who knows? Are you sleeping to avoid the chaos? We all need moments where we can throw the covers over our head and take comfort in a cocoon. But eventually, we must wake up. We can only find renewal and refreshment in the Lord when we are conscious beings. Only He can make our life bloom again. Let's look closely at that scripture again. Notice the word achieving. Never forget that your momentary troubles are achieving something. No trouble you ever experience will be wasted. Here's our prayer. Lord, guide us to know when to rest and to know when to awake. We don't want to miss out on any opportunity for our trials to achieve something by using them as an excuse for what we cannot do. We can do anything through you, including changing our perspective on the challenges we face. Stay tuned. I'll be right back. Welcome back. Joining me now is Holly Carpenter, Strings Director at Rogers Adventist School. Great to have you here.
It's nice to be here. Thank you.
Today we want to talk about some of the opportunities that there are for young people, for kids, to get involved with music here in our valley. What areas can they be involved with?
Well, this valley is really rich, both in young musicians and in seasoned musicians. We have the unique opportunity of 3 different universities and colleges in our area. We also have Rogers and Walla Walla Valley Academy that are super involved in their students being in music and seeing music as service as well as just something we do for ourselves. So it's really unlimited.
It is, isn't it? So I think we want to kind of break down some of these areas. First of all, you teach strings. That's kind of your special area. So what's available for kids with strings?
So we start them as young as 3 if they want to, but as Dr. Suzuki famously said, you are never too old and rarely too young to twinkle. So we like to start them young if they want to, but we also have students that come to our schools later and go, wow, I want to be involved in that. So I teach the violin and viola, and Mr. Gish over at WAVA teaches the cello and the bass. And they start in private lessons, and we start our orchestras in 3rd grade, which is a full 2 years before most schools. In our public schools, they start in 5th grade and also do a wonderful job with our students there. And they just kind of grow through all the way up to Walla Walla University from Rogers.
Mm-hmm. So you get to be in on that beginning phase of it.
I do. That is my specialty, yes. And I do really enjoy working with the young kids. You know, when I started the teaching, I didn't think I'd do very well with the under 7-year-olds, but I've loved it. I've actually really loved it. It's fun to watch them grow. And then I even get to tour sometimes with WAVA and take kids that I started in kindergarten and go on tour to Europe with them or wherever we end up going.
Yeah, one of those tours is coming up pretty soon.
It is, so we're excited.
Yeah, fun and exciting times. What about other instruments besides strings? What's available for kids?
So we have woodwinds and brass available. They start in the band. You know, our new music teacher, Mrs. Zurita Francelli Zurita, teaches flute to some of our students, and I love listening to that next door. Mr. Anderson does both Rogers and WAVA. He teaches private lessons if the kids want it. There's bells, there's steel drums, there's choirs. We're back into choirs, which is super exciting.
Yes.
So it's unlimited, and then Margot Cox teaches right there at Rogers. She teaches piano. So, and that's just the ones we have on our campuses. Then I have colleagues all throughout the valley that support our system. You know, some of my students in orchestra take from Hadley Gibbons in town, or Maya Takamoto, or Becky Wiesner, or Ed Dixon. So it's nice that we all work together. It's definitely not a competitive atmosphere. It's a let's get the kids in music.
And my
help
son
them
takes
succeed.
Saxophone from Amelia Mazurfi. So.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Amelia teaches as well, and it's been a big asset to our area.
So we have all of these individuals who, you know, they're skilled themselves, and now they're really giving back by teaching and sharing with others. So there's just a lot of ways. You mentioned a couple of interesting things. You said steel drums and bells. So not everywhere maybe has those, especially steel drums.
Yeah, the steel drums is unique, and that's been really fun. Mr. Beck has been helping us keep that going from the university. And it's such a fun island feel. And the nice thing about the steel drums is if you get a student that maybe hasn't had the private instruction, they get to be involved. And I remember one of our students, just watching him just move on the last concert. It was like poetry in motion. He was so into it. It was delightful to watch.
Mm-hmm. You know, and I just realized also that in addition to sort of some of the classical music or the band kind of music or choir, some of that's a little bit more formal. We also have praise band now, I think, at the high school level.
We do, actually. My husband is responsible for teaching 4 praise bands at the high school, and between the two of us right now, we're coaching 9 different praise bands in the 5th through 12th grade categories. And that's been great for developing voice. You know, the musical that just happened, Little Women, it was fun because some of those kids were in praise, and a lot of them grew and got more confident through that experience. So they were able to work it for both choir and a musical and praise band and just be overall more confident. And that was a fun area where a lot of our groups came together. I mean, we had the brass, we had the strings, we had the vocals, we had everything there working together for a really fantastic show.
I'm glad that you're mentioning that, because we're kind of all coming down from the high of being at Little
We
Women
are.
this weekend and this past weekend. And you're right. I wanted to ask you anyway about what some of the performing opportunities are. And boy, that was one that brought together a lot.
It did. You know, we have the Walla Walla Youth Symphony Orchestra that some of our students are involved in. Some of our WAVA students are playing in the University Orchestra, which is fabulous. Some of our university students are playing in the symphony.
Yes.
So it just kind of grows. I know when I was young, I was able to play in the symphony when I was at WAVA, and it was because we didn't have Mr. Gish then. And it was what made my experience so fantastic to be interfacing with professional musicians and having them treat me like a peer was something you don't get in every area. It's really unique to our valley.
Yeah, really great. So a lot of performance opportunities. Obviously, students have their recitals, especially when they're taking private lessons, but there are a lot of other performances of various kinds.
You know, and our churches in the area do a lot for that. They let our young people perform. Sometimes I'll take my orchestras to church and we'll take the whole service. It goes
Yes.
beyond music. We'll do the preaching, we'll do everything at the church service, and it's wonderful for those students to get those opportunities.
It is. I've been to some of those and they're really great. I love to see the students not only doing their best with their music, but some of them are brave enough to, get up and share a message. It's really great.
It is really exciting, and that all works together, because if they have a musical background, they're used to getting up front, but speaking's different. And sometimes the speaking gives them courage then to be in a praise band.
Yes.
So as long as we see all these things as working together, it really is a fantastic opportunity for our young people.
So I know a lot of parents think, okay, well, we actually have extraordinary opportunities in this community compared to a lot of other places, especially other places this size. So, but parents might be thinking, how much is this going to cost? If I get into this, what kind of an investment am I making?
So it depends on the instrument. And a lot of people think that's the most expensive thing. Actually, the biggest challenge for many families is the weekly lessons.
Yes.
And there are ways around that. I have a lot of grandparents that will help with that, or some kids will actually do it. My daughter wants to go to a summer camp this summer with her best friend from Seattle. It's in Ellensburg. And we'd already planned our summer. We'd already budgeted it out. And I said, well, I guess you'll have to work for it. So right now she is practice sitting with a younger student in our neighborhood. She's walking herself over there, and she's going to pay for this by herself. So if a student really wants it and they're old enough, I encourage the parents to work with what's reasonable for them to do and invest even a little bit, to talk to people in their community. The instruments vary in price vastly. Violin, you start around the $500 price point. String bass starts around $2,800.
Yes.
So some of those more expensive ones we actually are able to have and rent out, because it is more expensive. So we do try to work with it. But steel drums, if you're enrolled at Rogers, you can be in steel drums.
And you don't have to buy an instrument.
You don't have to buy an instrument. You don't have to pay for lessons.
Same with bells, right?
Yes, and bells and choir. Praise
Choir,
band.
everybody's got their instrument.
Yes, they've got it right here. Praise band, again, most of those instruments are less expensive. I mean, obviously you can just keep spending more and more money on a more and more fantastic instrument.
Yes.
And if your child's practicing that much, then that becomes much more palatable. They kind of earn it that way.
Yeah, they do. You'll soon find out with your child, how invested they are in their instrument,
Absolutely.
in what they're doing, and then whether you want to invest more in what they're doing. That's kind of the process our family's taken. The
Yes.
instruments kind of grow with the child, and also. About the fundraising thing, we experienced that too. We wanted to go to the Suzuki Institute. This is several summers ago,
Yes, I
and we were
remember
like,
this.
well, we'll sell some pies. We'll make pies and sell them, and that's how we got started in doing that. So I think you can be creative within your family, when you want something to happen that's really outside of your budget.
Yes, and it is so social in this valley that for the kids, they get more than just a skill. They're together. And I
Yes.
always tell parents, when they move out and they go to Seattle or Portland and they join a community orchestra, those are the people you want your child hanging out with. Those are good people.
Yes.
They're not going to be the big party crowd.
Right.
It's going to be solid, like-minded people who have a value that's probably more similar to your families if you've invested in music as well, which is really nice. And it gives them friends. That's how I made my friends in Seattle, was through our community orchestra.
Really neat. So what opportunities are there then in our community to be inspired. You touched on it a little bit already, but I know that can be something for students to actually hear other musicians who are accomplished.
Yes, I grade on the minute in my orchestras, and I actually give them 60 minutes worth of practice every quarter for going to a professional level orchestra during COVID, watching one online. So the Walla Walla Symphony Orchestra actually counts for that, and we have a fantastic upcoming one that has I think it's March 28. It has diversity in it. We've got Florence Price, a piece by her. Our pianist is a fabulous artist that many people haven't heard of. And so that definitely counts. Our university is not a bad orchestra. It's actually really inspiring for the kids because often they're taking from some of those students in our student teacher program, which is another way to make those lessons a little more affordable, is to take from one of the student teachers that we're mentoring. So you have that opportunity. You've got the Giesa Powerhouse puts on fabulous things. It's really amazing for a town our size.
Yeah, I must say that if you get connected with the universities here, both Whitman and Walla Walla University particularly, there are concerts that you can go to and recitals that you can attend and for free.
Yes.
That with really good musicians that are very inspiring and just fun. It's just fun to go and hear the music.
And there's a good variety of music that they bring in. They really try to bring in everything. I remember going to a mandolin one at Whitman before COVID, and she was world class.
Yes.
And there was maybe, 100 of us at an impromptu thing at Chisholm Hall. That wasn't even really advertised that much. It was sort of like a pop-up concert, and here you are with someone that usually costs a lot of money. It was free.
Yeah, it's incredible. So the opportunities to actually hear beautiful music, really well done, are just huge.
Which is one of the reasons our students do so well, is they have access to that.
It's fun, and also as you become a little bit more accomplished musician yourself as a student, I know you've had a number of students, including my daughter at the moment, but who actually practice with other students as their after-school job.
Yeah.
And that's good on both sides.
Absolutely,
it's great practice for the person who's helping the people practice.
It is, and it's great mentorship too, because
Yes.
they really look up to those students. I watch them come in. I'm going to be with Lauren, and they get so excited. And then they have an older student that can help them along that path of life.
Well, and she has that same experience herself.
Yes, she
practicing with Hannah Schaefer, and so she understands how fun and valuable that was for her, and then to share it. So I think there's just a lot of opportunity for enjoying music and using music to really bless other people.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the goal of our programs.
For sure. Well, Holly, I just want to thank you for sharing a bit about this and hopefully inspiring all of us to get engaged with good music.
It's been my pleasure. I love talking about this.
Stay tuned. I'll be right back with Station News. Welcome back. It's time for Station News. We had something really exciting happen last Friday. This is just huge to those of us who either work or volunteer at Blue Mountain Broadcasting Association. We have been able to submit our application for the building permit for the new facility, finally. And those of you who've been watching this show know that we were waiting on some examination of the trusses for the building, and we needed to be sure that those were going to be sturdy enough to hold the lighting and the lighting grid that we need to put in the new studio area. Well, all of that report came back very good, and now we were able to finish off the final touches on that building permit, and thanks to Keith Carlin, volunteer at the station and board member, who's been doing a lot of work on that. And I was able to sign it, and off it went, so that the county can look at it and hopefully before very long give us that permission and grant us that construction permit so that we can move forward now, not just with deconstructing some things at the new facility, but with building them up the way they need to be for us to use it effectively for a studio and for a station. So we really invite your prayers on behalf of this application we have submitted for the construction permit and for the whole process of our move over to the new facility. We're just really excited because once we have that permit in hand, then we can really begin to make those changes and put to use the donations that you've been sending in already and that you will continue to send in, I'm sure, so that we can work as quickly as possible at our new place. Also, I think many of you have just been waiting and waiting for Secret Life of the Desert. And I have that premiere date for you. It's going to be May 22 at the Giza Powerhouse Theater. That's where we're going to premiere Secret Life of the Desert. So you can actually get a ticket and come there and be there in person and watch the premiere of this program. And then, of course, after that, it's going to be aired on Blue Mountain Television so that everybody who wants to can see it. And tickets are going to go on sale actually a little bit later this spring. So you're going to have to kind of keep watching this show, keep checking our website, and make sure that you know just when those tickets become available. But you can already start telling people that this is coming and letting them know that it's coming on May 22. Now, just prior to the premiere of Secret Life of the Desert, we are going to be having our spring fundraiser for Blue Mountain Television. And we're going to have a really great time. We're tying this in with that premiere of Secret Life of the Desert, and we're going to have behind the scenes footage and behind the scenes information with Mike Denny and Daniel Biggs. And they're going to be talking about some of the things you would never know otherwise about Secret Life of the Desert and their adventures in filming this very important series. We're also going to be having, during that fundraiser, some beautiful, heartwarming music that will remind us of the beauty of the outdoors. And that's going to be with our guest musician, Simon Kowalski. And he's created a number of videos, and these have been filmed in the Pacific Northwest in some of the same locations and very similar locations to what you're going to be seeing on Secret Life of the Desert. So we just love how these two things come together, and we're going to be able to be ministered to through music as well as through the beautiful footage that we'll be seeing. So lots of great things to look forward to during this special time of our spring fundraiser, which again will be just before the May 22 premiere. So watch for those dates and times as well. And just be sure that you're paying attention here to the news that we share with you about the station, and also paying attention at our website. And by the way, that reminds me, are you on the list to get our little email newsletter, which comes out fairly regularly from Blue Mountain Television? Our station manager, Lowell, creates those and sends them out. I know I'm on the list, and I love getting those updates that let me know what's happening, what's the latest thing going on at Blue Mountain Broadcasting Association, and what can I expect to see on Blue Mountain Television? How's progress moving forward? So if you would like to be a part of that and you're not already receiving those, be sure you give us a call or write to us at the station and share your email with us. And we'll put up on the screen right now a phone number or address where you can connect with us, or email where you can connect with us, so that you can say, I really like to be getting that newsletter that comes. This isn't the printed one that comes out every 3 months or so, but this is going to be something very regular that you will see in your inbox with your email, so that you can get those updates from the station. So be sure to sign up for that if you haven't already. Well, I want to thank you once again, because as you know, and as I say each time when I'm sharing with you on this program, you're very, very important to Blue Mountain Television. Your prayers, telling other people about the station, watching the programming, giving your gifts and your donations, all of those really valuable to this ministry. Absolutely essential, in fact. And so thank you for what you're doing for our daily operating budget. Maybe you give a monthly gift that helps cover those kinds of expenses. Thank you for that. And also thank you for the special gifts that you're giving for the improvements we're making with high definition, with closed captioning, with 16:9 aspect ratio, with moving over to the new facility, all of those improvements that are happening where you've given special gifts to make those things happen. We really appreciate that as well. And I just want to thank you for watching the show today. I appreciate you taking time to learn a little bit more about what's going on here in our community and with Blue Mountain Television. I'll see you next time.